Welcome to One Man's Tracks, the second-hand music channel. I wanted to continue keeping up with the Canadians, and so I spent this week listening to and learning about a Toronto-based hardcore punk metal group called the Cancer Bats. They were founded in 2004 by former members of the band at the mercy of inspiration, singer Liam Cormier and guitarist Scott Middleton, adding in bassist Andrew McCracken and drummer Joel Bath. They record a demo and would quickly get signed to independent record label Distort Entertainment in 2005. Mike Peters would replace Bath on the drums, and the band would record and release their full-length debut album, Birthing the Giant, in 2006. Touring that album relentlessly both before and after its release, as well as opening up for Billy Talent on their tour. 2007 saw the band trying out some new bassists as McCracken would go off and pursue his design career with his company Double Knot. They would eventually settle on bassist Jay Schwartzer for their sophomore follow-up. This is their second full-length album, produced by Eric Ratz, Kenny Long, as well as Greg Below, released through Distort Entertainment as well as Metal Blade Records. Released in April of 2008. This is the Cancer Bats, Hail Destroyer! Just based off of the impressive list of features on this project, it seems clear that the Cancer Bats were quickly becoming recognized as the radical, heavy metallic force that they are, at least for Canadian standards, with Alexis on Fire and Black Lungs' Wade McNeil, as well as Rise Against Tim McElrath and the aforementioned Billy Talent singer Ben Kowalowitz. They all contribute vocals on this project, and it's just this excellent amalgamation of these mid-2000 Canadian rockers that is nice and hard from start to finish. This record is a gripping and blood-pumping project whose production is surprisingly clean and compartmentalized for a heavy metal album. It doesn't totally lose its edge, but I've never heard an album this heavy be so coherently mixed. Like, I can pick out all the individual instruments and the lyrics come through fairly cleanly. It seems like a difficult balance for a band that really prides themselves on their hardcore live shows, but it does feel super enabling for a new fan like me to easily come in and get hooked into the band. At least in my case, I found this to be one of the most re-listenable, emotional ear beatings I've come across yet. Its vulnerable and at times desperate search for meaning, its reflection on those moments of desperation being contrasted by messages of resilience and escaping defeat, creates this potent, tumultuous 12-track rebellious river that delivers all the way through. And since it always leaves me wanting at just 37 minutes long, I was stoked to take this week and spend some quality time learning about the Cancer Bats, their well-deserved rapid success, and their hard-earned longevity. What are some of your favorite Cancer Bats songs? Some of mine are definitely on here, so let's get into them. Starting with a CB staple, this album's annihilating title track, Hail Destroyer! I think I just destroyed my CD. Fuck. Damn it. Ah! No! Man. Saw me hail my destroyer there. It was in good shape before I dropped it. Ah, man. Okay. Stay there. Don't fall down anymore, please. That song opens up the album, but it's actually the track the band typically chooses to close out their shows with, as it's immediately apparent that this is a definitive Cancer Bats track. An awesome, head-banging, punk metal, sing-along, anarchist anthem that embraces the growth and truth that comes out of the intense struggles of having absolutely nothing. Tim McElrath's feature on Harem of Scorpions is more easily discerned by this song's cadence and lyricism rather than his actual voice, which is blended in a way that makes it seem nearly identical to Liam's here. I honestly might have missed out on all the features if I hadn't looked closely because of just how seamlessly they flow into this project. This song definitely feels like an accelerated, maybe more brutal rise against track. It's all about the animalistic desire to just pursue the things that bring you happiness. Maybe my difficulty discerning the vocalist is partially due to the fact that this feature is followed up by another feature on the track Death's March, with Wade McNeil coming in here and also being blended in pretty effectively into the mix. It could also be due in part to the stylistic change-ups here, with this one being much slower and more standoffish number. It's screaming out defiantly for a challenge and is just determined to not let the world break it down. Regret has a solid message of not regretting any past mistakes, and it's told in a pretty unrelenting fashion. I guess I'm just not all that crazy about the emo rocky drumming or the uninventive guitar riffs on this one. It may be the weakest cut here, but it's not intrusively so. Really, all these songs are short and dynamic enough that if a particular delivery doesn't quite land, the next track is at least interesting enough to warrant trying out. Things come together much more atmospherically for the following track, Bastard's Waltz, for example. This is the band lashing out at their lowest with some more viscerally delivered, repeated vocals, some pounding bass lines, spitting cymbals, and these twangy metallic grooves. It reinforces the band's ability to take whatever is thrown at them and continue fighting through it. For a band that embraces suffering, Sorceress shows that they're still not all that fond of being manipulated by lying witches. My enjoyment of this track seems to be a mood-dependent one, because sometimes it feels a little reactive and immature, and then at other points, listening to it, it's breakneck ferocity hits just right. Lucifer's Rocking Chair is the longest song on the album, and the closest the band gets to stoner metal. It's a marauding number that slows right down, and it has this sticky sludginess that rolls you right up in it and carries it right on to the follow-up, Let It Pour, that is a more standard punky metal song that's really carried by Cormier's vocals here. It's not a bad song, it just doesn't quite bring anything new to the table. Billy Talent's Ben Kowalowitz's feature on Smiling Politely is the most recognizable of the lot, but it's still really well fused with Liam's on this incredibly intense and assaulting song. Next is one that expresses the opposite sentiment of that sunshiny, hot heat song picking it up. This one's Pray for Darkness, and it's this quick, hair straight back smash about hardcore's vampiric nature of always being performed at night, and these guys wouldn't want it any other way. Unlike those hot heat guys who wouldn't trade a cloudy night for a sunny day, these guys are all in for the darkness. Some of the lines that pop up on PMA Till I'm DOA bring this album's themes together, summarizing its nothing's gonna bring me down attitude and declaring, every day I'm alive's the best day of my life! Closing out with a Pulp Fiction reference, Zed's Dead Baby continues this album's narrative of striving through difficult changes, reflecting on those tough times and transforming feelings of desperation and defeat into messages of resiliency and escape. Their anti-hate, anti-suicide ethos reinforced by hope and an experienced, shouted certainty that one day will be brighter. Providing motivation for those without, Hail Destroyer is the Cancer Bat's wholehearted embrace of hardship and an example of pressure producing some powerful results. An engaged, emotional, and profound heavy metal mix that's well recorded and produced. Certainly a clearer picture than the band paints live, but it highlights their proficiencies as well as some spaces they have to grow and expand upon their special hardcore blend, which they would do in 2010 with their follow-up album, Bears, Mares, Scraps, and Bones, which is, I believe, Jay's actually first official full-length release through Cancer Bats, with the liner notes on Destroyer here saying that Scott played both the guitar and the bass, so I might have got that wrong from the get-go. This album here is heavier, more consistent, but there's really just something about Destroyer that brought me to it. Maybe the songs themselves are catchier and more memorable, but yeah, if you enjoy it, Check out the Bears too, might as well. They've since put out 3 more full-length albums and recently recorded some acoustic covers of some Cancer Bats classics with some sessions called You'll Never Break Us, sort of stalling, doing something during the pandemic while there's no shows and waiting for the release of their new album, the 7th full-length studio release of the Cancer Bats. Psychic Jailbreak comes out tomorrow if you're watching this the day it came out. It's linked in the description if you're watching it any other day. More Cancer Bats action. There's a tour coming right through Vancouver that, if my work schedule allows it, in a couple of weeks I'll be going to see some Cancer Bats live. Woo! Concerts are back! Yeah! How about that? New Cancer Bats music to check out. Leave me your thoughts on Hail Destroyer or that new stuff down in the comments. Maybe some advice for my upcoming concert would be greatly appreciated. Like the video for Canadian music. Check out another hardcore band I've reviewed. One of these two I think are awesome. Subscribe for next week's throwback CD retrospectives. Thank you so much for watching. Children of Nothing, this is our song! Hail Destroyer! Hail Destroyer! Oh, I didn't break it, thank goodness. We're rising up from ashes!